being able to watch the sunset from the 77th floor in New York because I can afford to do so. Hey guys, welcome back to Live, Love, Life, and Travel. This is your girl Shamika. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Just to let you know that I upload on the daily and upload my travel videos every Monday through Friday and my free talk videos on the weekends and sometimes other days. But if you're interested, please subscribe. So today's video is a request from a subscriber, and I can't pronounce her name, but hopefully I'll put it on the screen. And she wanted to know what inspired me to start traveling, and I think also like my updates, so like what I plan to do in the future. So thank you for your suggestion. And I also want to say, if anybody has a suggestion, if anybody wants me to talk about certain things or have a question or want me to make a video about something, feel free to comment in the section below. And if it's possible for me to do it, if I can answer your question, I will make a video. I am here for you guys just as much as I am here for me. I couldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So if there is something that you want to hear, just let me know in the comment section below. So what inspired me to travel? I always wanted to travel. I wanted to travel ever since I was a little girl. And you know, my mother, if you don't know my story, was an abusive as biatch. But one of the things that she did give me was a travel bug. And I probably would have had the travel bug if we never went traveling as children. But we did travel, not a lot, but we traveled some as when I was a kid. And of course, those traveling experience was always tainted with abuse, but it still gave me that little itch or that little curiosity about the rest of the world. And so for that, I thank her. And so my whole life I wanted to travel. My whole entire life I wanted to travel. But just like a lot of Americans, I thought that you had to be rich to travel. And I would always say, if I ever hit the lottery or if I ever got a lot of money, I would travel. That's what I do. Like, I was never the girl who wanted to buy a lot of shoes or a lot of clothes or a lot of jewelry, and never wanted a big mansion. Or I do want some cars. I love vintage cars. But other than that, like, I was like, if I was rich, I would just travel. I would always just be gone. Be like, where is Shamika? Somewhere on planet Earth. She's always gone. But I thought I had to be rich, and I didn't discover you didn't have to be rich until a few years ago. But so I always wanted to travel. That was always there. And I'll talk about a little bit more about that. But I just want to talk about like how I started traveling. My first trip out of the country actually was my ex-boyfriend's friends asked me if I wanted to join them on the tail end of their trip in Thailand. And right around that time, me and my ex had just broken up. We were still friends, but the wounds were pretty still fresh, and I was still heartbroken over it. I was still pretty hurt over it because I thought that we could possibly get married. So and it was that, and even though I just broken up, my life wasn't particularly bad. Like, it wasn't nothing really traumatic happening or bad happening. I had my own business that was doing relatively well at the time. I just moved into my first apartment all by myself, which was my little accomplishment because like LA is really expensive and it's really hard to like afford an apartment on your own. But like I said, my business was doing well. I had friends. I was healthy. There was nothing really particularly bad about my life besides like the breakup, but I wasn't depressed or anything. But I felt, I was grateful for my blessings, but I felt unfulfilled. I felt bleh. So yeah, so like when I got offered to go to Thailand, I was like, why not? Like, I thought it'd be a great way to get over my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend, being away from him for a month, and it worked. When I got back, I had no more feelings for him, and I thought like it'd be. I felt like I needed something in my life, and plus I always wanted to travel. So even though the idea of traveling on my own in a foreign country that I'd never been to was scary, because I was going to be at the tail end of their trip, which was only 5 days, but for the rest of the month I was going to be by myself. But it was just like, why not? Like, why not? Like, I need something in my life right now, so why not? So the first trip I took was absolutely mind-blowing, fabulously amazing, and I loved every second of it. And so I did that for a month, and I was way too short. And so as soon as I landed, like the day I landed back in LA from Thailand, I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I have to get back to Thailand. I remember the first day in LA, my car broke down. I got a busted tire. I think I got a parking ticket, and I was just like, like, I gotta get out of here. I love LA, I do, but I had that itch. Like, I was strong, and so I was very, very determined to leave, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave in a year. I'm gonna leave. Actually, I thought I was gonna leave in a few months actually, but when I got back, like my business like went under. No fault to my own. My business in LA, like I sold, designed, created, and made my own accessory lines, and I sold it at different stores. I sold them online, and I also sold them at markets in LA, like art shows and flea markets and stuff like that. And so my main market that I sold my accessories at just went downhill. Like they changed all these rules, they changed the format, and it wasn't just me. Like everybody started losing money. I went from being able to make my rent in one day to taking all month to make my rent. So I came back from this amazing trip in Thailand to coming back to struggling financially because my business was shit. Like I was struggling so bad, and so that whole idea of leaving to Thailand in a few months went away. And so a year had passed, and I was just like, oh, this sucks. Like I really wanted to leave, and it's not gonna happen. But that thing just kind of went over me, and I was like, no, why not? Just leave. Like I didn't know what I was doing anymore. My business was going under. I felt lost, and I felt meh. Like nothing else is really exciting me right now, so why not? So I said, fuck trying to save up for money, because at first I was like, I'm gonna do another year and I'm gonna save up some money and I'm gonna go traveling. I was like, fuck that. Like I want to go right now. And to be honest, like I don't recommend this for anybody, but like I've said this in other videos that I'm kind of a dive in head first, fly off the seat of my pants, no planning whatsoever, and just doing it. And I love that about myself, and I hate that about myself, but I really do love that about myself, but it does get me in trouble. But yeah, that was one of those moments where I was like, I'm just gonna do it, like I don't care. And so I literally flew down with $200 in my pocket, and I do not recommend that for anybody, and anybody would have thought I was crazy. I don't think I told anybody how much money I actually had. To be fair, I did have another $500 check coming within a week of me being there from a job that I was doing online. And so my first month in Thailand, I did have $700, but I flew there with $200. I got God is good. Like I went on Skyscanner, and I was pushing refresh like every 30 minutes to see if I can find like a really cheap ticket, like a last minute someone canceled the ticket, and I did. I got a $400 ticket one way to Thailand, and I just sold all my stuff, and I said, I'm out of here, and I just left. And that is what started my travels. And so to go back to why I've always wanted to travel is because, like, I think because of my childhood and because of the abuse in my past, I was determined to live a fulfilled life after that. Because it's like, who wants to live a life that's torment and torture and horrible and just a nightmare, to then jumping into a life of just like blandness and like nothingness? So I was always determined to, like, not that I'm saying like I want to go skydiving and swim with sharks every day of my life. Like my daily life, yes, I'm in Thailand, but it's pretty boring. I work, I eat, I hang out with friends and have drinks. For the most part, that is my daily life. But I'm in Thailand, so it makes it amazing. But still, I was always determined to, like, I want to live my life to the fullest, because honestly, I think most people just live a life of circumstance where they sort of just fall into a job, they fall into a relationship, they fall into a place to settle down, they just end up having kids, and that's just a life of circumstance. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you should not be 100% grateful for your blessings that you do have, because you could not ask to be blessed with more if you're not grateful for the ones in front of your face. So I'm not saying that, but that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to just fall into a life. I wanted to create my life. Giant mosquito. Thailand issues. So I was always determined that, and traveling was sort of a part of that. I always knew that I wanted sort of a non-traditional life where I didn't want a 9 to 5. I was already working for myself for about 7 years before I started traveling. I dropped out of college, you know, like relationship wise, like, yeah, I want to get married, I want to have kids, but like I didn't want like traditional marriage, you know. I don't want a house with a picket fence. I want to, you know, I can have a bohemian, like, polygamous marriage or something like that. I don't know, but like I always knew, like, I want my life to be what I make of it, and traveling has always been a part of that. That's what inspired me. And just, I'm gonna end this video in a minute, but I just want to like mention this. that there's a movie, and I don't remember the title right off the top of my head because I didn't know I was going to mention it, but I'll put the title on the screen. It's something happiness. And I actually watched this movie on the plane on the way back to Thailand for the second time, and it completely confirmed what I was doing, where it was about this guy who had a seemingly good life. He had a really good job. He was a therapist. He made a lot of money, had a private practice. He had a beautiful wife that dealt with his weird, quirky personality. He lived in a very nice house. And compared to a lot of people, he had a nice life. He had a life that a lot of people would die to have. And, but he was living his life just like a lot of people live their lives, where most people don't check in with themselves and go, but am I happy? Like, is this what I want? Like, am I expecting all of a sudden what I want to fall in my lap or at any moment, or should I be fighting for what I want? And so he was talking to one of his patients, and he was asking her about how she felt, and she should have turned the question back on him and was like, well, but are you happy? And for some reason that just hit him, and he couldn't answer it right away because he, just like a lot of people, never really stopped to examine their lives and go, well, am I happy? And it made him do that. He made him do just that. He started to really think, but am I happy? And he came to the conclusion, like, I'm not particularly upset, I'm not particularly depressed, there is nothing particularly wrong with my life, but I am not happy. And so he started to travel the world. He traveled through Africa to the Himalayas to Japan. He traveled all around the world, and he wrote I think it might have been based off a book, because he was writing a book, and he asked people that he came in contact with while he was traveling, what makes you happy? And he asked people who lived very humble lives and little houses, compared to some people, didn't have very much, but they were extremely happy, and what made them happy was love, family, being able to be who they want to be, being able to be loved for who they are. And to the richest playboy millionaires, and he asked them what makes them happy, being able to watch the sunset from the 77th floor in New York, because I can afford to do so. And so it wasn't, the movie wasn't particularly about oh, you have to downsize, you have to give up everything, you have to become humble to be happy. It was more like just finding what it is that makes you happy and really figuring that out and appreciating that. And towards the end of the movie, he decided he knew what made him happy, which is love. So he went back to his girlfriend, his wife. He kept his practice, but he downsized. He continued to travel, and he lived his life just appreciating all the little things that he just was not paying attention to in his other life. He was so busy that a lot of Americans and Westerners do. We get so busy in our careers and our jobs that he wasn't enjoying a cup of coffee or the flower or a smile from a neighbor or something like that. And so he started enjoying the little things, and that's what made him happy. And so me saying that, me mentioning that movie, was me just that's something that drove me to travel. And I know travel isn't for everybody. I'm not here to tell everybody that they need to travel to be happy. I'm not here to tell everybody that they need to become a minimalist or meditate or whatever to be happy. I'm just, my biggest thing that I want to get across to everybody is to fight for what makes you happy, because you're so worth it, and life is so short. This life anyway, this reality is so short, and time is so precious. And to stop and examine your life and go, and I'm not saying to leave your husband and drop out of school and sell all your stuff. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I think most people don't do that, and I think it's really, really important. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to travel, because I knew this is something I really want. I knew I wanted to live a life a certain way, and so traveling was a part of that, and I wanted to make it happen, and I'm doing it right now, and I want to continue to do it. And even if I have to go home sometime, I'm going to continue to fight for that, because that's the life I want, and amongst other things. I know some people might watch this and think, well, I'm too old for that, or she's young and that's how young people think, or that's a child thing, or something like that. And I've heard that been said to me throughout my life. And I want to just say, when did pursuing your goals and your passions and your dreams and throwing gusts into the wind and going after what you want become a childish thing? When did that become a kid's play? When did the idea of I can no longer fight for the life I want, or my dreams, or my goals, or my passion, when did that stop becoming something that adults do? And when did it start being seen as something that only children can do? and I don't like that. I hate that. And like one more example, and then I'm gonna go. I remember when I was on the bus one time and I was traveling through a really kind of uppity, nice tree-lined street neighborhood, big mansion houses, whatever, in Pasadena. And I love to observe people. I'm a people watcher. I love it. And I noticed that all the young people were staring out the window and looking at the big houses and just going, oh, like I can imagine myself in a house, and they're probably like thinking of all the ways they can become rich and thinking about their life and their dreams and what they want to do when they grow up. And all the older people were looking down or looking away. It's like at some point we got into our minds that you can only pursue your goals or your dreams or what you want in life at a certain age, and after that you just have to settle for whatever you have in front of you and just be grateful. And again, you should be grateful for what you have. But I just want to like knock that notion of that's a childish thing, that's a young thing, that's an everybody thing. Everybody has a right to the pursuit of happiness. Yeah. And I'm not perfect. I am not perfect by any means. These are still things I have to constantly implement and tell myself back. I have to preach to myself. Me talking to you is talking to myself. So I still find myself falling into certain habits or doing certain things. So I'm not perfect. So I don't want anybody to think, well, that's her, I can't do that or whatever. I'm sometimes a flipping mess, okay? To be honest with you, I am so not perfect. But again, I will say it and I will continue to say it in my videos. If it's important to you, you will fight for it, no matter how many issues you have, no matter how many times you fall on your face, no matter how many times you make mistakes, you will keep getting up and try again. So that is me. I am a work in progress. And so as much as I want to inspire others, this is still me working on myself. So I just want to say that I don't like to come off like, oh, I know everything and I'm perfect, because I'm not. But I think a lot, and this is the consequences of me thinking and contemplating about life. So that's it. That was my video. Thank you girl for your suggestion. I really hope that answered your question. Oh, update on what my plans. I was gonna go to Vietnam next month. I'm really not sure, because I again wait to the last minute to plan anything. If I don't go to Vietnam, I'm gonna stay here through the holidays and then go to Vietnam. Or I might go to India, or I might go to Naples. I am not really sure, but if the question more is, do I plan to continue traveling? Yes, I plan to continue travel for the rest of my life. Even when I get married, even if I have babies, I'm dropping my baby to my back, and I will continue traveling. So there you go. I hope that answered your question. Again, if anybody else have any suggestions or any questions or any videos that they would like me to make, please leave a comment below, or any other general comments relating to the video I just made. If you like this video, please like it. If you want to share this video, please share it. If you want to continue to follow me on this beautiful game called life, please subscribe. And thank you guys, from Live, Love, Life, and Travel.